So when I say India, the first things that sticks to people's mind is the Taj Mahal, one of the seven wonders of the world, the Indian cricket team, the very magical Bollywood, of course, our charismatic animals such as the tiger, some of our politics, random people posting random stuff on Facebook, and importantly, our magnificent cobras. Hi, this is Gnaneshwar. I work at the Madras Crocodile Bank Trust as the project coordinator for the snake conservation and snake bite mitigation project. The project is oriented towards mitigating the conflict of snake bite and preventing snake bites from happening, especially while promoting the snake conservation, which is one of the core items of our models. In this presentation, I'll be talking about a certain work that we have done in South India, specifically in the state of Tamil Nadu, where we have done something which has never been done in India before, which is actually testing if certain prevention kits can actually work. Before I get on to my topic, let me just introduce you to snakes a little bit more. In India, we have roughly 350 species of snakes, among which I believe only 60 are medically important, and among which I think between 10 to 12 are common venomous snakes that bite people. In India, moreover, snakes are worshipped. Almost in every Hindu mythology, there is a snake god. They're highly protected as well. If killing a snake in India is a punishable crime, and people can be fined up to a few $1,000s or even serve a jail time of 10 years. Snake charming, as you know, most people who have seen or have come to India must have seen snake charming as one of the most touristy things to do. Of course, it's prohibited right now, but snake charming has been in the culture, especially in the West India, for a very long time. And importantly, slightly intoxicated men dancing as a snake in marriages. As an organization, we were founded in 1976 as a zoo and an NGO. We were one of the pioneers in conserving reptiles, not just snakes, but we started as a crocodile bank, which is basically a gene pool for crocodiles. Later on, we established the snake conservation system in India, where we have adopted a tribe. Our founder, Padma Shri Romulus Whittaker, as seen in the picture, have helped a tribe which is known for snake catching, or snake hunting rather, and converted them into catching snakes for milking venom, which is required for anti-venom manufacturing in India. We are probably the only institution where milking of snakes, milking of venom is actually a big thing. As a part of snake conservation and snake bite mitigation project, one of our main focus is conducting outreach and capacity programs. This we've been doing roughly in 9 states. Trust me, when I say 9 states, these are really big states, probably size of UK combined together. So these are really big states, and we've been traveling around with our partners and with our local assistants and been training people, teaching kids especially about prevention of snakes, identification of simple snakes, and what not to do when you see a snake. We have roughly 1.5 million beneficiaries so far, just through our educational programs and through our capacity building programs. Here you see a bold 60-year-old woman catching a rat snake, which is harmless, of course, after a training about snake rescues. All the men you see in the uniform are forest department guards who were trained to rescue snake when a situation arises. Like I mentioned, we are one of the institutions where we host 95% of the venom needs in India. We collect venom from majorly the big 4 venomous snakes, which is the cobra, the krait, the saw-scaled viper, and the Russell's viper. We collect venom from there and we give it to the anti-venom manufacturers across India. This is done by our collaboration with the IRILA Cooperative. And here we also been assisting researchers in sampling venom from across the other parts of country where these big 4 species doesn't exist or have a different venom composition in the venom studies. We've also been helping we have been doing some technical interventions where we've been plotting snakes, plotting snake bite incidences, we've been plotting hospitals. This is to make people more convenient in reaching out to a hospital when a snake bite situation arises. And importantly, some policy making and interaction with stakeholders where we've been collaborating with for a while now. So in India, as you know, snake bite scenario happens mostly when, or across the world, when snake bite scenario happens mostly when people put their hands in unknown places or walk out in the night without a torch or without proper footwear. Sometimes when you sleep outdoors without any proper barricades, snakes can crawl in and try to bite out of defense. All this leads to a proper snake bite situation which is easily preventable if we tackle these three situations. And these are the three occupational hazards that cause to snake bite, especially a majority of snake bites in India. As a test, we have thought that we should start adopting certain villages in certain states where we can do a fully implemented program by reaching out to the entire village. Until a few years back, we've been reaching out to almost every other bigger state, but we couldn't dedicate ourselves to a single village where we can commit our time fully. So, about a year and a half back, we started working on this project where we reached out to a very beautiful village in South India called as Thirukarangudi, where we have started to distribute this simple snake bite prevention kits. So what's a snake bite prevention kit? The first thing that comes into our mind when we say snake bite is that it happens on foot. So we started implementing or giving away gumboots to farmers. Now, people who are not in India might feel this to be very straightforward. But the thing in India is that people don't like to wear gumboots, don't like to wear footwear at all when they're working in field or when they're walking out. It's because of several reasons. Some feel that the land that they work on, the farms, are holy to them, and they cannot wear footwear on that land. Some feel that they need their feet, the sensation from their feet, to feel the soil and see how hard it is before plowing a seed. Some are just reluctant because it's inconvenient and it's heavy to wear. So all this compile up and make people feel reluctant to wear any sort of footwear while working in fields where majority of the snake bite happens in most parts of India. So our first step was to see that where about 60% of snake bite happens, that is on the lower extremity, and find out a way on how we can prevent that. We have come across with two different gumboots costing two separate prices, and we have experimented them and asked people to use them. This is just the aesthetics of the gumboots, where the left one is much more smoother, lighter, but quite expensive, which is 2,000 rupees, whereas the one on the right is slightly heavier, but it's much affordable, which is roughly 300 rupees. However, this was just an experiment to understand what would people prefer to wear. After motivating them to wear, of course, regardless of that, people wore this after being distributed to them. So it helped basically people, it empowered people to be a little bit more confident while working in the fields. Wearing gumboots just helped them to, of course, some claim that it helped them prevent a snake bite, but also it was convenience for them to use because they have never been using these boots in the past. And suddenly it feels like it's a new thing to use because people have been wearing this while, especially during certain activities, which is cutting the plants or walking in bushy areas. We had our drawbacks, which I'll mention a little later, but this is how the gumboots helped them initially. Second thing was mosquito nets. It's strange how mosquito nets can act as snake bite prevention kit. It's merely a barricade for people who sleep outdoors, especially in the night. Mosquito net, when it's tucked inside its bed or a mat, it acts as a barricade. It acts as a shield around for the people who sleep inside it. And especially when a snake or krites, which are most notorious for this, they come out in the night, and when they find and then when they're crawling against the mosquito net, they usually don't end up going inside and just crawl along the mosquito net and then just move away. of course, we've also tried this with multiple types and trying to understand what would people prefer more. As you can see in the small video in the left, a snake tries to go in, but it cannot really go in, and it just crawls alongside of the mosquito and just goes out. It's been established, people have found unique ways of setting this up in their farms. You can see in the picture on the right where a person just sets it up very beautifully right outside this watch shed. And the third and most part, the lightsabers of this war, which is the torchlights. So these rechargeable torchlights were distributed to every participant of the study, where of course people have to spot when they come out in the evenings, especially when they're returning back to the home after the sunsets, or when they're going in the night to switch on the water motor, which is a very common practice in India, because the instruments that take a lot of electricity are usually given electricity in the nighttime. So people usually, the farmers especially, go out to field in the nighttime to switch on the water motor and come back. And these times they don't really carry a torch. They either just go using their will, or they just use a mobile torch, which of course may not spot them snakes which are on the pathway. So we have also added a rechargeable flashlight, very affordable rechargeable flashlight into this kit, so that they can often or always use this while walking. The torchlight obviously helped them to scan their pathways before they walk. Several participants often said that they've spotted snakes, which they wouldn't have spotted if not for the torchlight. So I'll just tell you some of the challenges we faced because of this through this project. Even though this looked a very promising project to us initially, it was a set of basic items. It was not some unique invention or a renovation. It was basically helping people to change their lifestyle practices or tweak their lifestyle practices in such a way that they can actually prevent snake bite. In the past, yes, for the past, sorry, Beth, how many minutes?
Sorry, that was 3 minutes left.
There was 3 minutes left. Okay, sure. So in the last 2.5 days, we must have seen the complexities that the venom causes and or the snake bite situation causes. So we've been promoting more and more of snake bite prevention aspects. People were reluctant to use initially because these were slightly inconvenient and out of their daily uses. But still, of course, we could able to convince them. People obviously misuse this. For example, the mosquito nets were used to catch fish, which was, of course, in our perspective, it was misused, but for them, it was a nice recreational activity. There was always equipment malfunctioning. So we are trying to work on and establish all these things and trying to start the next phase of the project. Of course, there was a lot of high acceptance when they wanted to use this kit. There was a lot of positive feedback with people coming and explaining to us that it was good that we have distributed this kit for free of cost. And there were always secondary benefits, like people prevented other scorpion stings, scratches due to sharp items. And of course, there was an increase in demand after we distributed this kit. We distributed this to roughly 150 people. This is just a small graph of the results. This will be soon published in the Toxicon journal through the paper that Dr. Anita Malhotra is publishing. This is one of the testimonial from one of the recipient, one of the victim, who actually had a snake bite in the past, but also said that because of the gumboots, he prevented another snake bite from happening. And he's very happy about that. In the future, we are trying to upscale this project. Of course, due to COVID, we've been facing some shortage of funds to upscale the projects, but we are trying to sort of figure out funds and upscale this project in such a way that we can actually empower more and more people from the village. I'd like to thank Professor Joy Maria for sponsoring this registration, and also Dr. Shakti Vilvayapuri for the constant guidance, and our funders, the Srinivasan Services Trust and the TVS Motors, along with some other funders, and also the PubMed for organizing this. So this is something that we've been wanting to do for a very long time, understanding what prevention is and empowering people with certain prevention kits, which are basically very straightforward way of dealing with life. And in the first phase of our project, we feel that we were quite successful and to implement another upscaling project right now. So if anyone of you would like to support us or would like to get in touch with us, please feel free to write to us at the email ID below, which is mine. And I would always love to connect with you to talk more and more on this. Thanks for the rest of my team who have helped me to carry forward this project.